Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today I'm changing out the radiator and AC condenser on this 2012 Mitsubishi Lancer. If you have a similar Mitsubishi, this process will be almost the same on models like the Mitsubishi's Outlander Sport, Mitsubishi ASX, and some trims of the Mitsubishi Mirage with the same front end layout. So whether you're wrenching on a Lancer or one of its siblings, this guide will help you get it done the right way. Let's jump in. First thing you'll notice is this trim piece is actually missing a lot of the original plastic rivets, but the few that are still here need to be removed. Just pop them up with a trim tool or a flathead screwdriver. Once those last rivets are out, you can lift the trim piece off and get access to the radiator support area. As you can see here, I'm using a pick tool to pop the plastic pin up, and then a pry tool to remove the entire clip. This makes it a lot easier to pull them out without breaking anything. Now that I've taken out all the plastic clips, I'm going to remove this plastic intake tube. What you do is press right here near the end. There are two tabs that hold the tube in place. Once you press those in, the tube just pulls right out. Now just remove this plastic trim piece and then take out the bolts around this metal frame. Once those are out, we can start freeing up the front end for better access to the radiator and condenser. Now remove the 3 bolts down here that are attached to the front bumper frame. Once those are out, the whole front section starts to loosen up so we can keep moving forward with the teardown. Before I forget, anytime you're working with electrical components, like connecting or disconnecting harness connectors, make sure you disconnect the negative side of the battery first. It's the safest way to avoid shorts or accidental sparks. Hiding beneath here are 2 corner bolts that need to come off. Use a short socket or a ratcheting wrench to get in there and remove them. There's not much room, so the smaller tool makes it a lot easier. Now I'm removing this hood latch cable by using a simple flat screwdriver to push in the 4 corner tabs and then pulling the cable out. It pops out pretty easily once all the tabs are pressed in. Now go ahead and remove this harness connector right here. Use a flathead screwdriver or a clip removal tool to lift the clip, then just pull it straight out. Remove this clip here as well. Now remove this last bolt down here that connects to the bumper. Once that's out, the front radiator support is pretty much free and we can start pulling it away to get better access. Now just lift this radiator support up and out. If there are still any clips or harness connectors attached, go ahead and remove them so they're not in the way. Once everything's free, the support comes right off. Now, before removing the radiator, you need to drain all the antifreeze. Down below is the radiator drain plug. Just twist it off and let the coolant drain out completely before moving on. Make sure you have a catch pan underneath to collect the antifreeze. Coolant has a sweet smell and taste, but it's extremely harmful if pets like cats or dogs lick it. Always drain it straight into a pan or container so nothing spills onto the ground. Slowly open the radiator cap. Take your time with it. As you can see, once it cracks open, the coolant can squirt out. Now go around and carefully unhook all the radiator hoses. Take your time so you don't damage any of the fittings. Here, I'm using a small adjustable wrench to press and release this locking hose clip. Then I switch to a bigger wrench to break the hose loose, and once it's broke loose, you can just pull it out. Do the same thing on this other side here. I'm actually going to take this hose off completely just to give me more room to work with. Now remove this small hose in the front right here. Just loosen it up and pull it off. As you can see here, the radiator and condenser unit is now loose. We just have a few more clips and harness connectors attached to the fan assembly that need to come off before we can pull everything out. Here, I'm going around and unclipping the power connector to this fan so the assembly can be free of any attachments. As you can see here, we're almost done freeing up the entire unit. The last thing we need to remove is the AC line connected to the condenser. I should note, this car has no Freon in the system. If your vehicle still has Freon, make sure to take it to a shop and have it properly evacuated before disconnecting any AC lines. I also want to point out that if you're only replacing the radiator, you don't actually need to remove the condenser. But since both the condenser and the radiator have leaks, I'm pulling both of them out to replace them. Once I get the whole assembly out, I'll show you the tabs and the little tricks you'll need if you're only replacing the radiator. Be extra careful when you're working around the condenser or radiator. They have these very sharp cooling fins, and they can cut you pretty easily if you're not paying attention. Now, the only thing left attaching this entire unit is the bottom radiator hose down below. Once we remove that, the whole assembly will be free. To remove the bottom hose is a bit tricky. First, I use an adjustable wrench to release the fastener clip. Then I switch to a bigger adjustable wrench to break the hose loose. And finally, I use a pry tool to push the hose away from the radiator neck.
Alright, so now this thing should just come right off. All right, as you can see, this thing went over a curb and it hit this, also hit the radiator too, so that's why I'm replacing both of this.
Here's the tricky part where most people run into. If you're only replacing the fan or just the radiator, you'll need to press down on these tabs and clips on the fan assembly so you can slide the fan out or slide the radiator out, depending on which one you're replacing.
So you're gonna push this down and put that down, push both of this down, and just pull this out. So
as you can see, even with the whole unit out of the car, it's still a bit tricky to slide the fan out.
So the trick is to use two flat head, and what you want to do is put it right here, just like that. Put it in so that it will stay right there. Same thing with this. just like that, right? Pull this out. See that? See that? You can take this out now. So this just come out like that. And then you're gonna do it to the other side over there as well. Same thing with this side. Put your screwdriver, your flathead in there. Right? Just like so. Put it right here. Just like so. And then push this up. Right? So, see that? You can take this out. This should just come off. Just come off like this, right? As you can see, there's a lot of rooms right here. See, that's where the lower radiator hose is at. So I got a brand new condenser and a brand new radiator. So we're just gonna match this up just like that. Same thing, this will go in just like this.
So what I'm doing here is matching the new unit with both of the old units, lining everything up, and then attaching the clips so they're locked together as one piece. This makes it a lot easier to reinstall everything back into the car.
Alright, it looks good. It's in one piece. Alright.
Make sure you replace the O-rings on the AC pipe as well. Anytime you disconnect the AC line, you always want to install a fresh O-ring so it seals properly. Now I'm attaching the fan assembly to the condenser and radiator as one complete unit before putting it back in. The radiator has this clip which holds the fan assembly together as one unit, so everything locks together securely.
Just like that. See that click? Hear that click? So now we're just putting this back.
Now, take your time and carefully lower this whole unit back in. Make sure it sits in the lower mounts and nothing is pinched or forced as you slide it into place. And I also want to mention, be careful not to get cut by these sharp cooling fins. They can slice you pretty easily, so take it slow as you lower the unit back in. Next, I'll be reconnecting the lower radiator hose down there. You can jack the car up and lay underneath to make it easier, or you can do it from the top like I'm doing here, whichever gives you better access. After you connect the bottom radiator hose, come over to the passenger side and reconnect the AC pipe to the condenser unit, just like you see here. Make sure it seats properly before tightening it down. Good. Now go ahead and connect the top pipe. Make sure it lines up straight and tightens down evenly. Good. Now I'm just going around and reattaching all the upper radiator hoses. Make sure each one is fully seated and the clamps are tightened back down.
This upper hose. There we go.
It's also a good idea to inspect your hoses for any deterioration, things like softness, cracks, swelling, or dry rot. If anything looks worn out, this is the perfect time to replace it. Now, using an adjustable wrench, squeeze this locking clamp and slide it back into position to lock the hose in place. Good. Now do the same thing on this other side. Squeeze the clamp and slide it back to lock the hose securely. Now double check to make sure all the hoses and pipes are connected properly before moving on to the next step. It's always better to catch anything loose right now. Now, carefully align this top radiator support and set it back into place.
So, this back.
After you line it up properly, secure it with the 4 corner bolts. But don't tighten them down yet. You'll want to leave some wiggle room so you can line up the rest of the bolts first.
Like this. This goes inside here. Alright. This goes inside here. So this connects to over here. This one connects down here.
What I'm doing here is going around and reconnecting all these harness connectors and then snapping the wires back onto the frame so everything is secured where it needs to be.
Right here. There you go. The other one's connected right here. Connect that. Alright. I'm gonna put this back. Just like that. And push. Just like that. Alright, so see this? Make sure this one goes on top of that. Just like this. Right, see. See that? 3 bolts down here.
After you line it up properly, secure it with all the bolts on this top metal support, but don't tighten them down yet. You'll want to leave some wiggle room so you can line up the rest of the bolts first. Here's an example. This is why you don't tighten everything down right away. You need that extra wiggle room so you can move brackets like this and line up the holes. Once everything lines up, then you can easily thread the bolts in. After everything is lined up properly, go ahead and tighten down all the bolts. Make sure each one is snug before moving on. Good. Now that all the bolts are tightened down, just reconnect the remaining hoses and clamp them back into place. Now double check that everything is secured properly, then go ahead and put the top plastic trim cover back on. The final step is to reinstall this plastic intake tube and secure it with the plastic rivet. And don't forget to refill your coolant and reconnect your battery before starting the car. Alright guys, I hope this video has given you some good guidance. If it did, don't forget to like and subscribe. It really helps the algorithm and helps others find the video. And if you want more repair guides, check out my DIY playlist right here. I'll see you in the next one.